I actually don't warm up before I run. I know that might be different than what most people do for running. I just got this question recently, so I wanted to answer and talk about why it works for me. Now, I have heard a lot of different ways to warm up, and I'm going to talk about that as well in case you're trying to find out a good warm up for you. But I'll explain to you why I don't really warm up, or at least I don't warm up in the way most people do. So for me, what I like to do is I just start easy in my running. Most of the time I'm training for ultras. So I'm doing long runs multiple times a week. And so if I am going to do speed work, well, I'll warm up within the first 2 or 3 miles. Now, even for track sessions, like right now I'm working for or looking for a marathon PR in a couple months, I am doing some like 200-meter repeats and mile repeats. And I just start slow in my first mile or two and pick up the pace over the second or third mile, and then I hit my tempo workout. I'm not necessarily saying this is right or wrong. I just got the question about, what's your warm up? And I just warm up in my run. I don't do any sort of stretching until after my run. So this is what I've heard in case you are looking for a more in-depth or a warm up with more to it. I know a lot of people do like swinging leg raises and butt kickers and things like that. And maybe if I did that, I'd run better. I don't know. I just like what I've done. So what I've heard is if you are going to warm up or stretch before your run, you should do a dynamic warm up before you run and then stretch after you run. So this has never happened to me personally, but I've heard people talk about how they stretch super intensely and deeply before they run. And because they're a little more stretched out or mobile than they typically are, they pull a muscle. And so doing something that's a little bit more dynamic to just get the body moving, the blood pumping, like butt kickers, like high knees, like swinging your leg back and forth, opposed to static stretching or stretching where you're just holding it in place. If you do some sort of dynamic stuff before you run, so that might be a couple sprints, then swinging legs, and then, high knees or butt kickers, that type of thing, and then you run, you'll be more warmed up before you start, obviously. So here's my biggest thing I'm going to make a point on and then wrap up this video, is if you're going to run hard, have some sort of warm-up. So what a lot of people do, especially when they're newer to running, they know they're going to run a really hard 5K just for training, 7 or 8 minute mile, whatever it is for them, and they just take off running. I think that's where you're most concerned for pulling something or some sort of injury maybe. Again, it hasn't happened to me, but what I would encourage you to do is warm up before you start running hard. So even though I don't have like a crazy warm up before my tempo runs, I have 2 or 3 miles that I'm just getting things moving and blood flowing and warming up my muscles, and then I run hard. I never go straight from like waking up and then doing 200-meter repeats and then running some more. There's always a mile or two or longer for me to feel more comfortable with what I'm about to do as far as speed goes. So that's the only thing I want to say. I think if you find something that works for you, do it. There's probably plenty of other people out there that have made videos on warming up. I just like taking the first mile or two. That's enough for me. I don't really feel like I need to do dynamic warm-ups, and I think a lot of that might just be because I'm young or because I stretch plenty, so I already feel pretty good most of the time. I don't have to like get my creaky knees going. I feel pretty good right when I start. So maybe that'll change when I'm older, but as of right now, I don't have much of a warm-up. I just run. So if you got something out of this video, consider subscribing. This channel is about fitness, running for the most part. I talk about what I've learned from, what I'm training, how I train. And then also, if you don't want to subscribe, I still hope you got something out of this, and I hope I get to see you in another video sometime soon. Peace.